Let me ask you something. If the standard approach to how you treat type 2 diabetes really worked, would there still be 20 to 23 million newly diagnosed type 2 diabetics every single year globally? This is the kind of stuff that we are trying to educate people as to what is actually going on here. Have you ever gone to the doctor and he told you that you have just been diagnosed with some sort of a condition, whether it's type 2 diabetes, whether it's congestive heart failure, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, any number of things, and then they tell you, and the sad thing is, this is chronic, it's progressive, and it's irreversible. You remember how you felt when you left it? Did it make you feel there's no hope? Like you've just been given a death sentence and now you're just waiting until the time that you die, knowing that your health is going to get worse and worse? What a miserable feeling. But then what happens when you've been told that you've had this diagnosis, say type 2 diabetes, and then all of a sudden you listen to something, you hear something, you watch something, you hear somebody out talking, and they talk about how they just reversed their type 2 diabetes, or they've reversed their congestive heart failure, or they've reversed their rheumatoid arthritis, whatever. And now all of a sudden you have hope and you think, is this true? I was told by the medical community that this is irreversible, chronic. How can this actually be? That's where Teresa and I were just a few years ago. And this is when I finally found out that I, as a doctor of pharmacy for 35 years, with 12 years of college and 35 years of practice, have always thought that type 2 diabetes and these other conditions were irreversible because that's what I was taught. And now I'm finding that's not true at all. And now we found multiple thousands of people who are reversing their type 2 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, congestive heart failure, AFib, everything. They're reversing these all the time. So that's when Teresa and I decided that we want better answers. Evidently, what I was being taught through school was not correct. We had to go straight to the source of all these people that are actually telling us the exact opposite. So that's when we found out that there are rooms full of doctors, scientists, health coaches everywhere that are actually helping people reverse all these diagnoses that we were always taught these are irreversible. And that decision to try to find other people who are actually learning about this stuff, teaching this stuff, actually found out the truth and that this can actually be reversed. That's when we decided we needed to find out what's going on, because the whole thing, all these conditions are being reversed that we were taught is irreversible because by taking medications. They're all being reversed by nutrition. That's all it took, is the type of food that you put in your mouth is reversing all these quote unquote irreversible conditions. And that got us on a search. We started, after we found out this, we started reading everything we could. We started watching everything we could. We started listening to everything we could to find out what is this nutrition that everybody's talking about. And that was huge, because now we found out that there's a whole new world out there of carnivore, ketogenic, and metabolic health conferences all over the United States and all over the world. And they're everywhere. And all you have to do is find one that's next to you. And these conferences are totally reshaping how we think, how we actually treat conditions. And we actually do it by giving nutrition. So that's what we want to do, because once we found this out, we started going to conferences all over the place. We have been going to conferences everywhere. And every time we go, we learn more and more about how we have been totally misguided about our health and how we can actually reverse it and how people are doing this. And it is the most wonderful thing to have all these patients who are sitting out in the audience, listen to this, and then they get up and they want to get on the microphone because they want to tell their story about how they had these irreversible diseases and now it's over and their health is so much better. Now they have energy. Now their disease is gone. They can do things they never thought they could do. They've lost multiple pounds of weight and they feel like they've just got their life back. After being handed a death sentence, they realize that's not true. So what we want to do in this podcast, we want to explain to you just some of these conferences that Teresa and I have been to, and just let you know what kinds of things happen. at these conferences. And these are conferences from physicians. There are people, and some of these, you may have heard some of these names, and I'm just popping out just a few of them that we know. But if you've ever heard of Dr. Ken Berry, he's a general practitioner. He speaks at a lot of these conferences. Dr. Anthony Chafee, he's a neurosurgeon. Dr. Sean Baker, he's an orthopedic surgeon. Dr. Philip Ovadia, he's a cardiac surgeon. These are just some of the physicians that you'll find when you go to these conferences. And they're not stuffy conferences. They are there to teach you, to let you know that there is a better way. So it's not just physicians. There's people like we went, and there were Courtney Luna and Jenny Middich. Both of these girls, they wrote their own cookbooks or their keto cookbooks, but their cookbooks actually help people try to reverse these irreversible diseases. And then
Thaddeus and Heidi.
Yeah.
And so we haven't put the podcast out yet, but we just interviewed them, and they're all about light, sunlight, LED lights, what's going on in our homes, just everywhere, all of these LED lights and how these are so bad for us. So that podcast is really good. But people like that, Carrie Mann, he was at Meatstock that we were at just a few months ago, and he was on our podcast, and he made a documentary called Healing Humanity. We talked all about, it's just success stories.
This is people who have been misguided for their whole life. And then all of a sudden they found out the same thing that we just found out. And once you find this out, you want to do everything you can to help educate other people. And these conferences we're going to talk about, it was just that. They started off helping a few people, and then started getting bigger and bigger. And these conferences started off very small, and now they're getting bigger and bigger. We've been going to these conferences. Some of them we've gone to multiple times. And every year it is amazing how much has changed, because more and more people are starting to wake up and realize how horrible our food system with all this laboratory made food with a box, bottle, bag, and can is killing us. And how if you go back to God made food with the real fruits, real vegetables, real meat, how that is reversing all these diseases. And we were the exact same way. As soon as I found this out, that's when I wrote a book. We started a podcast. We have a free weekly newsletter that we do. I started getting up on these stages and speaking. When we first started going to these conferences, I thought we were just sitting there listening to these people talk. These people on this stage are truly helping people. They're not just sitting here and engulfing the knowledge and keeping it to themselves. I turned to Teresa and I said, I'm going to be on that stage one of these days. I want to be one of these people who are helping these other people realize how we've been duped and how we can actually reverse a lot of these irreversible diseases. And that's when we started going to these conferences. And the first one we went to was Hack Your Health.
Yeah. So we went to that. It was in Austin, Texas. And it was actually called KetoCon back then, about 5 years ago.
Stands for Ketogenic Conference.
But they just changed it to Hack Your Health, because these conferences encompass everything. They aren't just food. They just encompass a bunch of things. They just call them these certain names just to draw people in, but they are about food. Usually they're low carb. And the only reason they're low carb is because of all the carbs that we eat today. I think people were probably low carb years ago.
Oh, we are glucose toxic. And remember, carbohydrate and glucose, two different words for the exact same thing. We are glucose. We are carbohydrate toxic. Some carbohydrates are fine, but nowhere near the amount that we eat. And that's what we've been finding.
Right. So anyway, it was KetoCon. Now it's called Hack Your Health. And now, instead of being in Austin, Texas, it's now in Tampa, Florida. And so we've done that once, and it's going on again this year in November, I believe. Guys,
we've actually done that 3 times.
Yeah.
We've only been once when it went to Florida.
And so be sure to take some notes and write these down. Of course, you can Google them as well, but we've written them down for you guys, so you can guys go check them out, see what their cost is. If you live near there, that's great. So those are all over the United States. So Hack Your Health.
And Tampa, all over the world, actually.
Yeah, we just did United States for these. Low Carb USA. And so those are everywhere, like California, Florida, Texas, Denver.
And that's what we did. We went to the Low Carb Denver. But there's all kinds of different low carb conferences around. And again, just Google them, because they change around every year, because again, everybody's trying to hit as many people as possible. And if you keep staying in the same place, you tend to keep getting the same people just a little bit more. But if you travel around, you're educating more and more people.
And the other thing you get when you go to these conferences is like-minded people. You have people that are there to learn to get healthier, which is what we were trying to do, and teach people. And a lot of people are just there just for their own health. And that's great. And then you get to meet other people, because sometimes our friends and family don't get it if we're questioning what our physician said. And we're like, but we heard that reverse their type 2 diabetes. And my doctor told me that it can't be reversed. So what's going on? And when you go to these conferences, you get to see there's a lot of people that are just like you. They're wanting to change, and they're wanting to believe, that they're wanting hope, that there's something that they can do with themselves to take care of their health. And they're not relying on the medical system, the pharmaceutical industry. That's probably the best benefit, is the community and the people that you meet.
And what's wonderful about this is everybody there is either trying to learn or truly trying to get the word out to everybody. So everybody is so friendly. These speakers on the stage, they don't come up on the stage and then just fly home. They get out in the crowd there. You could come up and they ask you, please come up, ask us any questions you want, talk to us, let us know your story. Let us see if there's anything we can help. And it is such a friendly environment. And the people who go, most of them, you see the ones who are depressed, but they're mingled in with all these people who are just excited because they have already reversed their diseases, and they're there to help people. They're not on the stage. They're just in the audience. They don't know all this stuff, but they know what helped them. And they just want to help other people realize there is a better way.
Yeah.
And one of these, like I said, the first one we went to is Hack Your Health. And when we went, it was in Austin. But while we were there, we heard about another one that was this low carb Denver that we went to. And we were sitting in the audience at the same time. And just so happened we were sitting next to another couple, never met him before. And we were just sitting there chatting in between speakers. And their name was Steve and Summers. We met this couple, and to find out they live in Monterey, Virginia, and they have started their own conference just to be able to get people in their area to come to this, to learn all about this nutrition and everything. And what they do is they just charge a small amount, but they take that money and they're trying to help the school right there in their community, trying to get stand-up desks for all the kids in these schools. They asked me if I would be a speaker at their conference. Obviously, I said yes, because I'd already told Teresa, I want to be a speaker. I want to be up here. So we drove all the way from Missouri, all the way to Virginia, gave this talk. Then there were several other speakers that were speaking that day, and also had spoken previously. And all the people that we were just talking about, people like, we already talked about Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Ovadia, but then there's people like Bill Schindler. And again, you may not know these people. Bill Schindler is a wonderful guy. We've had him on our podcast a couple of times. Dominique D'Agostino, he's an awesome man also. And he actually came up with his own conference, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And that one's also down in Florida. Nina Teicholz, she's into explaining to people how we have been lied to for so many years. And she's actually very influential in actually trying to get our nutrition changed, when we were trying to get our food pyramid redone. Nina Teicholz was a strong supporter of that. And she was one of the ones that was actually helping. Dr. Stephen Hussey's a chiropractor. He had a heart attack when he was like in his 30s. And now he realized that we're even treating heart attacks way differently. And so he's explaining his story. But again, this is the kind of stuff you'll get if you go to this. So Momentum in the Mountains in Monterey, Virginia. This is a conference that goes on every year. It's the last Saturday of July. And it's such a wonderful event. And you really get to meet some amazing people who are trying to care.
And Steve is speaking there this year, so you should get tickets.
That's right. They asked me to speak. They asked me to speak again this year. So I'll be speaking there.
So come and meet us
in the end of July.
Come and say hi. And
this one may already be popped in.
Anyway, and then the Metabolic Health Summit, which he was talking about, Dominique. So this is a big one that goes on. And it's
Dominique D'Agostino that I was just talking about. This is his conference, Metabolic Health Summit.
And so it has more medical and research type presentations. So,
but those are good to go to, because that just solidifies it in your mind. This isn't just people's thoughts. Oh yeah, they're just doing this. These are doctors who actually do research to prove that nutrition is the key to everything, and it is not medication. It is very in depth, but again, it kind of ingrains it in your mind that these are people who know what they're talking about. They are not in here just to try to get money like the drug companies are. They are a business. They are making lots of money off selling you medications, but it truly is a patient cured is a customer lost. And that's how they go. That's why they tell you these are irreversible diseases, because all they do is treat symptoms with these medications. With nutrition, you can actually reverse it. And speaking of nutrition, another huge conference is one called Weston A. Price. And Weston A. Price was a dentist back in the 1920s who realized, after doing lots of research and finding that all the dental issues that he was seeing, almost every single one of them was due to the type of nutrition that his patients was eating. He changed their nutrition and he started changing these people. And then he got big time in nutrition and how this is the way to go. So there's a big Weston A. Price conference also that goes on every year.
Yeah. And that will be in Washington, D.C. this year. And I believe that's in October. And that's in Washington, D.C. And then just be sure to go check these places out, because Weston A. Price is in a different location every year. A couple of years ago, it was in Kansas City. I don't remember where it was last year. And then this year's Washington, D.C. So again, when you're hearing us talk about these, remember their location. And if you live close, it's not like you have to travel far to get there. You could be maybe living in Washington, D.C. You can go right there and listen to all the wonderful speakers that they'll have there.
And then another one we found out about was Meatstock.
Yeah. So we just went to that one this year, about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks now. It's meatstockconvention.com. And it hasn't been going on for too many years, maybe 3-4 years. And it's just growing like crazy. And it says Meatstock, but it is health. It is meat based, but it's all focused on your health. And next year, Steve will. Yeah. Yes, you are speaking.
Yeah.
Sorry. Steve is speaking there next year, and it will be in Nashville, Tennessee. That's in 2027, and that's in May.
That'll be next May, because this last May was the last one, and that was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which was phenomenal. These speakers that we hear speak, they're on all these different stages, so we get to hear a lot of the same speakers, but then we find a whole new batch of speakers that we've never seen before. You continuously learn. You don't go to these things. Like I said, we've been to Hack Your Health 3 times now. It's different every time. It's different. The speakers are different. What you learn is different, and the camaraderie is always the same. If you think that there's no hope, you've been diagnosed with a disease that you're just going to get worse and worse, please look up these conferences and go to them, and you will see that you have been lied to. And a lot of these diseases can be. So I just want to keep reiterating how important these things are. And then there's another one. This is a brand new one. This is one that just started a couple of years ago. Actually, this is the 5th annual coming up. It's called Secrets in Healthcare. And this one actually is right here in our home area in Missouri. It's going to be in Branson, Missouri. But Secrets in Healthcare was started off very small. And like we said, it's just grown and grown. Last year, I spoke at Secrets in Healthcare last year here in town, and it was only a 1-day seminar. And it got such great feedback that already this year, 1 year later, we've had to turn into a 2-day seminar, because we've got a lot of speakers and there's a lot of people who want to hear the truth about things. And this one's a little different because it's not all about nutrition, but it's all about all kinds of different things that work. This year, there's going to be Dr. Brian Artis is going to be one talking. He talks about nicotine and how we've been lied to about how nicotine is what was causing everybody to be addicted to cigarettes. Nicotine is actually a very good product that you can take that can solve all kinds of things, including pain. And it was actually other chemicals that were being added to the cigarettes that were making those addictive. So you'll hear all about that.
And then John Richardson, he'll be talking. So his is all about cancer and with apricot seeds. And so you'll hear his story. He continued his dad's work. We won't go into all that, but so he'll be there speaking. And then,
but his dad had been curing thousands of people with just apricot seeds.
Shuck, she's a good friend of ours. She'll be there speaking on gut health. And Dr. Rebecca Edwards, a naturopathic dentist, which is very exciting. And Dr. Marlene Siegel. Am I pronouncing that right?
I think so.
She's a naturopathic veterinarian, which is also exciting. And then just a ton more, like we said, 2 days worth of speakers.
But these naturopathic veterinarians, like Teresa, we're really excited about that, because we know our pets only live about half the life that they used to live. Our pets are getting cancer. Our pets are getting bumps all over their bodies. Our pets are having all kinds of issues that pets never used to have. And it's all for the same reason. It's because of the nutrition we're feeding them. We're feeding them all this ultra processed food, laboratory food to our animals, just like we have this laboratory produced food that people are eating. And that's why our animals are seeing the exact same extremely ill, horrible outcomes of their health, because we're eating the same kind of stuff. So once you find out how to feed your pets natural food, just like us, their diseases and their conditions start reversing also. So we just wanted to make sure that you guys understand, You are not alone. If you have been diagnosed with some kind of irreversible, chronic, progressive disease, and you think your life is over, it is not. There are things out there. In most cases, it is not. And do not underestimate the importance of giving your body nutrients instead of giving your body toxins. And everything that you might find in the bottle, box, bag, and can has a huge ingredient list on it, those are toxins. That huge ingredient list is nothing but chemicals that your body has to decide what to do with. Once you get rid of the toxins and you give your body the nutrients that God gave us, the real fruit, real vegetables, real meat that we've had since he created us, and we've been living this whole time without all these diseases. Once you understand that and you start getting back into eating that kind of food, you will be amazed at how much better you feel. The energy, the clarity of thought, obviously the weight loss, that's a given. Everybody who changes their nutrition loses weight. But we're talking about actually reversing diseases and getting off medications, and it's happening all the time. In fact, there's another conference that Teresa just found out about.
Oh, so there's also conferences because we're like, you can just go look up low carb or health conferences. A lot of the health conferences are going to come up for CE credit for nurses and physicians. So you kind of need to do a little looking around. But also you can find in Christian communities. So they'll have Christian events. Seeking Whole Health. That was one that Dr. Rachel Shuck, she just spoke at. And another friend, Holistic Hilda, she was there speaking. And it's a Christian. So they're going to teach you the Bible basics to improve your life. And then also they bring in these health speakers because we have to improve our health as well. And the Bible teaches a lot about food and our health and taking care of ourselves as well. And so just remember, men's conferences are going to do the same thing, women's conferences. And so just be looking in those Christian conferences as well, if you would like to find something like that. And just real quick, we forgot to mention this with the Secrets in Healthcare that's in Branson. It's going to be at Big Cedar Lodge. It's just beautiful out there. It'll be November 20th through the 21st, 2026. And it'll be Christmas time, so it should be decorated and it'll be amazing.
It's going to be gorgeous. This conference center down at Big Cedar is absolutely amazing. So we are so excited. I'm so honored that they asked me to speak at this, and I can't wait. I really hope you guys get your tickets. We'll even have...
Yeah, we'll have a link.
We'll have
a coupon code. SHewlett10. I will have that in the description below.
So if you type that SHewlett10, you'll get a 10% off your tickets.
Yeah.
And by now, because they are getting ready to go up. But we hope you see you there. We hope to see you at one of these or multiple of these conferences. We personally have been to almost every single conference that we just mentioned. We just want to let you know you are not alone out there. There are thousands of people, and it is getting bigger and bigger. And again, this isn't just in the United States. These conferences are all over the world. So it depends on where you're listening. We just want you to know, get online, Google it, and I guarantee there are many other conferences that we did not list just because
we don't know
about them, but we will. So I hope this helps. Don't feel like you're all alone if you have been diagnosed with an irreversible disease. And don't think that it's an irreversible disease, because a lot of times that is not true. So until next time, stay nourished and stay well.